Hey guys, it's me, Simone, and in this video we're going to talk about why I make my own books and the supplies that you need to make your own books. I've touched on this topic a little bit, but I wanted to answer the question why I would make my own books and the benefits and how easy it is to get your supplies. So let's start about it. I have made my own books since around the first time I started art journaling. Or I've used sketchbooks, or I repurpose books I got from the thrift store or something like that. And I got inspired to make my own book by Jenna Belli when she made a lot of her books out of cereal box covers, and ever since that I've been pushing the envelope, not like pushing it, but just thinking outside the box to make more books for my purposes. So I don't really purchase any journals nowadays. I kind of just make everything myself. So let's kind of go why I do this. And the first thing is money. Can be money. It's cheaper if you have the supplies on hand. It's still cheaper if you have to buy the supplies out to make your own book, and then to have to go out and purchase one every time you need one, or to have to deal with what you can get your hands on, what's available to you. So the thing I like about making my own journals is, one, I can make it any size I want. So this is a 8.5 8.5 by 5.5 journal I use. This is my daily writing journal that I use, and I like paint the pages before I start. And I do take pictures of this in my Instagram. But I can make this book any way I want to, however big, small I want to do it. And that's the control you get when you make your own book. Second thing is pages, paper. If you're a paper snob, I'm not really a paper snob. I like thick paper. It's nice, but I can work on thin paper. I'm okay with it. So if you are a paper snob and you prefer thicker paper, or you like this paper or whatever, and you can't find a journal that has the right amount of paper pages in it for you, or it's too thick or too thin, you can't find the specific size you want, you can make it yourself. And that's the thing. So if you wanted to use Neenah paper, Neenah 90-pound paper, if you wanted to use Art Collection paper, if you wanted to use jam paper, if you wanted to use some random paper you found from Walmart, or the art section of your local craft store, and you want to use that, you can. There's no restriction. If I want to use this thick, I think this is like closer to like 90 pounds, I don't know. This is paint paper from Strathmore. I got this from Walmart. It's like $3. This is a 9 by 12. If I wanted to use this and make a journal out of it, I can. And I have nice thick papers. It kind of reminds me of like a thin mixed media paper. And I didn't spend how much it would cost me to get this in a notebook. And normally, if I bought this in a pre-made notebook, they would have less pages in it because it's thicker paper. But I can do whatever I want. So that gives you a thing. You can have a variety of different kinds of journals. I can make this journal, which is similar to how this one's made, but this is my art journal. I use this to paint, and I've shown several videos of me painting in this journal, and this is bound by me. I have this journal. This is a junk journal that I made. A bunch of random pages. And this is all hand sewn, bound together. So there's the reason. So you can make it any size you want. You can have any kind of pages you want in it, anything you want, and you can make to your exact wants and desires of your specific notebook. And so that's why I make my own notebook. It's cheaper, yes. I can make it any size I want, and the page quality is up to me. That's 3 points I can tell you right now, I could think of right now, that make making my own journals really important. And if I want to make sure my journal can withstand spray inks, all I do is find paper in my stash, and then I can use it. If I want all my pages to be blue, I can dye my papers blue and then put them in and have blue papers. Boom. It's up to you, and you have a lot more control in it, and you have control of what you want your cover to look like. I have this like faux looking leather cover on mine. A technique I found somebody do a while ago. If you want me to show you how I did this technique, I will. But it's pretty simple, really easy, and that's what I did. This was like 120 pages in here. If you do like double like that, one. Yeah, wait. Because it was 200 and wow. So I said 100 and I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, I put 60 pieces of paper in here and folded them up. If you times that by 4, that is 240 pages that are in here, front and back. Right, yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do 2, it's just 120. If you just do 1 page, 2 page, you know, whatever. Up to you. So that's the big thing. This, it's always really up to you what you want to do. I'm using in this journal right now. I made a video about the paper, but I'm using Polaroid paper from Dollar Tree. It can withstand stains, dyes, paints. It has a really high tolerance. As long as you're not like drenching the paper with water and like wet medium, it will hold up to it. If you're drenching it like to a point where it's like maybe gonna rip in your hands, you're gonna have bleed through. But it does shadow a little bit because it's still thin paper. But let me go over my supplies that I use in my journals and help you guys out. If you're wanting to make your own journals, be like Simone, I think it's gonna be super expensive. It's not. I will leave all the links to everything I'm talking about in the description bar below. So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is your paper. That's up to you what you have. I have tons of paper. I have tons of different papers I like to use. Paper that I normally use in most of my journals is my Neenah Exact Bristol Board Vellum paper. I'll leave a link for that. It's my favorite paper to use. It's about 67 pounds. It's a nice in between thickness. It's thick enough to handle paints and dyes and stains and sprays, but it's not so thick that you can't put a lot of pages in your notebook without it looking really bulky, without you adding anything to paper. I love the jam paper. I have the 110 pound jam paper, and I love the Georgia Specific paper, which I have the 110, right? Yeah, here it is. By far though, this has become my This has become my favorite paper. This is the 110 pound or the 199 GSM paper, and this is 92 brightness, and it comes with 150 sheets, and this is from Walmart. It's like $4. I love this paper. It's really thick, nice quality. Between this and my Neenah Exact Bristol Board paper, which is really good for markers, like alcohol markers, I love both of these papers. I've been using them non-stop. I'll leave a link for both of these in the description bar below. This is a lot cheaper, but you do get less. With the Neenah paper, you get 250 sheets for like $6, and this one you get 150 sheets for $4. So it's up to you. Most papers I like using for like art journaling and all kinds of stuff. So that's the first thing you need to do is your paper. Next thing we're going to talk about is your cover. I normally use cereal boxes. So I keep a couple cereal boxes in a bin in my room that I use for making little projects and for covers in my journal. So this is what I use a lot. And it's up to you. I've done different styles. If I don't use this, I use very thick paper. For the cover of this journal, I use my jam paper, which is here. This is 110 pounds to the sheets. It's like $5. It's really thick. This is actually it says index cover white, but the listing was like vellum Bristol Board paper. And I'll leave a link to the site for this one if you're interested. It's a little more expensive, but it's really thick paper, and that's what I use right here. And you can see it's not bending. It's actually pretty thick. Like it reminds me a lot of paperboard, which is what the cereal box is made out of. It's like really close to that thickness. But you have a choice. I like using recycled mediums because it lessens the cost of how much money I have to pay for it, but that's just up to me. So that's something I would highly recommend. Next, we're going to go into your, I think it's glue. I use different kinds of glue from Elmer's glue. When I'm doing a binding technique, I use the binding technique that you would use if you, that was used to make books, like regular textbooks or books you buy in the store, and that's where you get your signatures and you glue them together on the fold. You like pin them all together and then you just glue along the spine, like this, spine all the different signatures, and that's how you bind the book. And if I do that technique, I use tacky glue because it's a really strong glue. Try and get it from here. Okay, I use tacky glue, and if I don't use this tacky glue, I use Elmer's glue. But I don't use those two when I make a book. So let's keep going with everything else. So that's all the way. And tacky glue, that bottle cost me like $3. The normal small bottles I think is less than $1. So let's go over everything else. First thing you need when you do binding is you're going to need something to bind the pages to the book. Either you're going to do a hidden, there's depends on ways to do it. I like the hidden way that you can't see the stitching, or I do this way. It's up to me depending on what I want to do. This way is easier for if you don't know how big your book's going to get. I can easily cut a signature out just by cutting one of these threads and make the book thinner. This way is permanent. It's a lot harder. You actually have to like really tear your book apart to get a signature out if this book is too thick. So it's up to you basically if you want to have your stitching show through the cover or not. It's up to you. But with all that being said, I wear my needles. I use very long needles here. Let's show you guys that. This is my needle. It has thread in it. I'm lazy. I don't take the thread out. I use these long needles. I use either these needles or doll needles, but you can see the difference. This is a doll needle. You see how thick that is. If I'm binding through books like the one I showed you with the thread going out through an eyelet, I use these needles because they're bigger and easier to grab. But if I'm doing stitching, smaller stitching, I use these needles since they're much thinner. You can use quilting needles too. I like these long, thin needles because it's easier to grab them when I'm sewing my papers. But it is all up to you, that preference. I do like these needles. I got mine off of eBay in a pack of like, I don't know, 25. I'll leave a link below to them, and I'll leave a link to some quilting needles if you're interested. But that's the needles I use. You can use a sewing machine, but if you don't have that, because it's an investment, you can use that. So next thing you need is some thread. When I first started doing my own books, I used floss. You can use floss still. I use wax cord. Yeah. I will leave the link for this below. You get a lot of it. It's cord, it's not thread, so it's a lot harder and thicker, which means this does not fit through all the needles. You can use regular, I wouldn't use all-purpose sewing thread because it's pretty thin. If you did that, I would like at least double, quadruple up on it and not have one strand holding the book together, but have like maybe 4 just in case, because those things can really pop pretty easily. I would use the thicker things, either floss, get some wax cord or thread, embroidery, floss, whatever you have. That's what I use. But you can start off with anything you choose. I just use this wax cord. I like this a lot. I got this off of eBay. I'll leave a link to it in the description bar below. It's like $2 for all of this. It's not too bad price. So we have our needles, our thread. Next thing you need is a couple things. These have helped me a lot. First thing up is a awl. AWL. I have 3 awls. You don't need 3 awls, and you just need 1. But I lose mines and misplace mines and all that kind of stuff, so I like having multiples. And I purchased, this is my first one. I purchased one for 99 cents, and these 2 I purchased for $1.10 off of eBay. I'll link a link below. I keep recommending eBay than other sites because eBay does a lot of sellers off of eBay do ship international. So it's easier for me to leave that link to you guys. You guys find your eBay and then buy it in your currency than me link like an Amazon or something. But I don't buy too much off of that when it comes to these supplies, because these are a little cheaper to just get off of eBay or AliExpress or whatever. That's why I love it so much. But and the price is much cheaper. If you buy this off of Amazon, because I did look at the price, was around $5 a pop. Like, yeah, $5 or so a pop. Sorry, I thought I heard something. But it's up to you whether you do that or not. The next thing you're gonna need is a bone quarter. Okay. Now with the awl, you don't have to purchase the awl. When I first started doing books, I used a thumbtack. You can do that too, but it's really up to you whether or not you want to do that. I like that technique when you first start off, but otherwise it's really hard to grip it. It's hard to make bigger holes. With an awl, the tip of it is thinner, and then as you go down it gets bigger or thicker, so it makes wider holes the more you push this through your paper. So always keep that in mind. I'll be right back.